I'll get called from from the heritage lines. Don't ever ask to drive one of our trains. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Jess, an LNER train driver based at Newcastle.
Hello everyone, I'm Jamie, a community manager at Dovetail Games.
Today, in part 3 in the series, we're going to have a go at Flying Scotsman.
You have the chance of driving the world famous locomotive along its famous East Coast main line.
All right.
So if we go and walk over to the front of Flying Scotsman now, we've got to put the lamps on.
All right, so going through.
Well, you've got to be seen by all the signalmen. So what we'll do is we'll put the main line express head code on. So if you move over to it, there we go, there it is. So if we click 1 for that one.
Yep.
And then we jump down on the rails there. Try not to get run over. The middle one, and then click that 3 times. So there we are, there's our high intensity lamp. And then we need the other one in the middle there. So there we go. So we're now safe to run on the main line.
Lovely.
So we now climb up. And let's go on to the footplate.
All right. Clamorboard. All right, we're in.
Yep.
Do I just need to take a seat?
Press E to get in the seat. Or no,
Oh, why?
Keyboard whenever. Yeah,
Why I'm in.
So, we're now on the footplate. Now comes the interesting bit. As you can see, we've now got to get the locomotive ready for departure. So what we're going to do is select the reverser. So if you bring the camera down a little bit, and on the right hand side, as you can see where it's hovering over there, click the A and then use your joysticks to then move it into forwards.
What am I going up to?
75%.
75.
So fully forward.
There you go. Couldn't do that again if I tried.
And then we need to open the right hand door, so use the right hand D-pad on the on your controller.
You've got your 4 arrow buttons.
Oh!
That's right.
Right, doors are unlocked, guys. I've got this, don't worry.
There we are. So your doors are now open. Fantastic.
I thought you meant something on the train. I was looking, I was like, right, must be something around here somewhere.
So we're now loading the passengers. And we can just have a look around the cab as we're waiting for our passengers to load. So you can see all the different... so you've got the gauge glasses where you're hovering over there. So that tells us how much water is in the boiler. Very important because we don't want to run out of water. So yeah, but luckily as a driver, the fireman keeps an eye on that. So we haven't got to worry about that. And then you've got the different dials. So we've got our air brake pressures. We've got our speedometers. And bits and pieces like that. So we can now lock the doors.
Doors are locked.
Doors are locked. Right, so we need to now do the brake. So if you now go down where it's showing you there, and do the same as you did with the reverser. So A, hold down and go all the way to the end. So it goes into sort of running overcharge. Keep going. And then as you can see on the HUD there, you can see the brake pressure is now coming down. We need to get it to 0. We've got air brakes at the moment. Nearly there, nearly there. There we are. Right, then left hand joystick, give it a blow, hold it down and give it a quick blow on the whistle. There we go. And then open the regulator. 10% to start off with because we don't want to go into a wheel splitting. Go, and we're off. Look, here we go. You're now driving Flying Scotsman. Look at that. All that power.
crazy, like, to compare it to like a modern day train, like all of this just to get it moving forward. Like,
It is, yeah.
it's great to see how much the trains have progressed, but you can't beat the old trains, like the steam trains. They just look unbelievable, and it's just the feel of them, innit?
Yeah, and it's something I've done a few times, and it's quite complicated, but it's good fun. So if we now go and turn off the cylinder cocks on the cab side there,
Is it over this side?
it is near the fireman's legs there. Can you zoom in for me?
Right, close that.
Yeah.
Nah, just close those doors as well.
Oh, you got a train trying to overtake you as well. Right, if you now bring the reverser back for me.
That's this one.
That's that one, yeah.
Right, what am I taking it
To
to?
about 45%.
45.
Lovely jubbly, and then we'll open the regulator a bit more and put some more steam in the cylinders. Going, start increasing speed now. Look at that, there we go. We're off, look at that. And you think in the steam days they would have been driving these engines day in, day out in every weather conditions, and it was quite an amazing, you know, I've been on the footplate of engines before, actually have been on Flying Scotsman before, and the heat that comes off the firebox is quite incredible.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and certainly at full pelt it's even hotter. So when you're sitting there stationary, it's nothing compared to when you're actually driving it and firing.
We've got up to the grand total of 26 miles per hour.
Yeah, there
Absolutely
we are.
flying.
So as you can see, we got some underneath there. We got some history as well. So built in 1923, was one of the members of the A1 class. It was built by Sir Nigel Gresley. But there was quite a few things with the locomotive. Obviously, you know, London to Edinburgh is quite a long way, and you'd have to stop and change crews. So to do sort of non-stop runs, they would have to use a little corridor, which you will have a look at in a bit.
It's crazy how different it actually is to like a modern train.
And it's running on air brakes as well, so we've got like, air brakes stock behind us. I think we've got about 10 to 12 coaches on, so it's quite a heavy train.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I came for a drive in this and come around into like restrictive aspects or something like that, having to like quickly get down here to put the brake in and all sorts.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
definitely be taking a bit of energy at the end of a shift. I know that much.
Yeah.
But it's even just like the limited view that you've got. I know when I've gone past like steam engines and whatnot, when I've been out driving, you always see them with like the head outside the window, and
Yes.
I'm really not surprised when like literally this is what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Especially like obviously some parts of the routes that you drive, you don't really get to see some signals until you're right on top of them. So
Yeah. If you press the left D-pad, if you press left on the D-pad, you'll actually be able to look outside the window.
Is it not that one?
No.
I've unlocked and then locked the doors there. Alright.
Trying to find. I'm
Right.
looking at my keyboards.
I've found a way of working the regulator and the brake here without actually having to look down at it. Right, this is progress.
Yeah, brilliant.
There you go.
There we go, I've got it.
And then you could be able to zoom round and have a look outside. You had to move quite far out as well.
That does look quite cool, doesn't it?
There you go, look at that. You're now driving the world's most famous locomotive.
It's like it's driving straight past me now.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, you got the doors open.
Huh? It's just extra airflow, that's all it is, you know, trying something new. Right, so now, question is, there we go, right, I'm back in. Let me see, I think I learned, that's a brake, oh no, we don't want the brake. There we go, left doors are now locked, no one's exited without knowing. So I'm going to guess that that's where all the coal was stored at.
It was indeed, yeah. You would have to be firing that in.
So would that be the job of the fireman, I'm guessing?
It would be, yes.
Yeah.
So working the fire, so you can see the fire glowing in there, shoveling coal. There'd be a good few tons of coal in there. Not sure on the amount of coal you'd use in that distance, but it would probably be quite a lot.
Oh, apparently I'm driving over the speed limit here.
Yeah, if you're driving over the speed limit, bring the regulator down a bit.
Let's have a look. I think I've just got actual points for being over the speed limit there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes you will get points, yeah. If you shut the regulator for me totally.
Totally, yeah. Quite surprised, it's a 125 road this, and I'm only doing 76.
Yes, because Flying Scotsman on the main line will only have a speed restriction of 75 miles an hour.
Right, okay.
Because we don't want to, because of our age, we don't want to break her, do we?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, really.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, I've got more points for driving under the speed limits are.
There we go, yeah. There's nothing better than seeing a locomotive at a steam locomotive at full pelt on the main line. It's always fantastic seeing it.
Oh yeah. And you always see the smoke before you actually see the engine as well, so you know exactly what's coming.
You do, yeah. Or you hear the whistle or the beat of the locomotive.
You can always tell when there's one out during the day and it's due to come, because you obviously see so many more people with cameras and the tripod set up and that on the platforms.
Yeah.
But even when you drive past one out on the main line, like you just look and you feel like a little kid again, because you're like, oh my god, it's, you know, I'm actually seeing this in real life rather than like, you know, on TV or in a game or whatnot.
I'm guessing you've passed them as well on the main line.
Yeah, been past a few of them in my time, and honestly, just every time, like it's an unbelievable feeling what you see, because it's like, you know, the history behind them and whatnot, and just the impact they've had on like British Rail in general, and not even just like in Britain, like, you know, across the world. Obviously the Scotsman's been America and Australia in its time.
It has, yes.
Yeah.
So in 1969 it went to the United States and went round quite a few areas of the United States. I think it even went into part of Canada for a couple of years. Alan Pegler took it there and you know, got to drive it all around America, which is quite amazing. And then it came back to the UK for a few years, and then in the late 80s, Sir William McAlpine, who bought it from Alan Pegler, then got an invite to take Flying Scotsman to Australia. So for a few years, it went over to Australia, and while in Australia, it set a new record and did the longest non-stop run for a steam locomotive of 422 miles, which is quite incredible to think that one locomotive could go that far. So there we are. It's just, you know, it's a world famous engine. It's not just been in the UK and run the rails for 100 years in the UK. It's run the rails of the world as well. If you now open the regulator a bit, because we've lost a little bit of speed there, so you can now open the regulator a bit more. Get some speed, because we're going up a little bit of a gradient there. You're driving 97 tons of locomotive there, which is incredible.
Yeah, am I right in thinking it's about, the loco itself is about 70 foot as well in length?
It is indeed, yeah. It's a long old engine. And this isn't one of the biggest steam locomotives either. There's locomotives that are certainly larger than her, all across the world. But it's quite amazing. Even at 70 foot long and 97 tons in weight, it's still quite a beast of an engine.
You're not kidding. You know, compared to the Azumas, obviously it depends if it's 801 or the 800, but one of our carriages, you'd be looking, if it's 801 it'd be about 44 tons, I'd want to say. 800 it'll be about 48 tons just on average, so comparing them, that's like two Azumas, it'd be about the same weight.
And that's just the end. That's just the locomotive. That's not even including all the coaches behind it either.
Exactly.
There's a lot of force to keep going and to try not to, you know, if you got to suddenly stop, you know, it's a lot of distance that you'd have to try and stop over.
Oh God,
all that weight.
Yeah, you definitely have to be on your toes driving one of these.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously with our trains, when it's wet weather, we have a lot of things to consider, especially with like wheel slip, low adhesion areas and stuff like that.
Yes.
I'd imagine it's the same for you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, when you drive a steam locomotive, it's very much the same. Because this is in this express Pacific class, they could be very light on their feet, so they could easily slip under certain conditions. You know, in some cases, some locomotives used to be banked, which would be banking was using another locomotive at the back of the train to push the full train up the hill if the engine couldn't quite the lead engine couldn't quite get the grip. So again, this is the same with Flying Scotsman. You know you have to keep on your toes. You know, if you suddenly shut the regulator, bring the reverser back, try again, and between the reverser and regulator, balancing it to make sure you don't slip and you get the adhesion and the grip you need to move the locomotive forward.
So obviously using the regulator in real life, is it quite hard or is it quite straightforward? Like, is it quite heavy or is it quite user friendly in essence?
It can be quite heavy. The regulator, it has a bit of a delay. So it's not like where you'd have the Azuma, which I'm guessing when you put the throttle down, you basically need to get it instantly.
Yeah, very quickly.
With Flying Scotsman, you would have to, bring the regulator up slowly. Some people pump it; they pump the regulator a little bit. So if you've only got to go a small distance, what they'll do is they'll open shut, just to bring enough steam into the cylinders, just to move it slowly and to bring it, if you were like buffering up against coaches and things like that. But every driver has different techniques to how they would drive the locomotive. But yeah, a regulator can be quite stiff and can be, it takes a little bit of time to respond to your movements. Have you ever travelled behind Flying Scotsman before, or seen it in person?
It's mainly been when I've drove past it. I've normally coming in the other side. I normally give it a little toot, just say hi. But yeah, I think once or twice with the Scotsman, and honestly, every time you do it, you just feel like a little kid again, because you're just like, oh my god, it's actually there. It's actually like moving. It's like you're seeing like a piece of history in action. So.
It is, yeah. Well, she just turned 100 years old last year, so which is an incredible achievement. And to say that she's still running the rails today is an achievement in engineering, and that doesn't just go for Flying Scotsman either. There is hundreds upon hundreds of steam locomotives all around the UK that are all in steam, running the heritage railways or running on mainline services, and flying the flag for steam and bringing history in front of your eyes. Yeah,
I think I remember reading as well, to actually build it back in the 20s, it's just short of £8,000.
Yes, it was. It was £7,944 to be exact, which I'm not sure what that would be in today's money.
I believe it's around about 602,000.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. Interestingly, after that, sort of like in preservation, she recently had, in 2016, she recently had an overhaul, which took a long time. It was a big project, but it cost £4.2 million to get her back into service, which was an incredible overhaul. But when you've got, at that point, she was just coming up to about 90 years old. She needed a lot of work. Look at those wheels. Look, they are absolutely fantastic.
What's this little bit here?
They are sanders. If your wheels were spinning, that's what you put the sand down.
Right, okay. Yeah, we still have them on ours as well. But it makes sense them being them, considering the angle that they're on. As soon as I seen them, I was like, what are they? But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you can see the rods all going round there, and there's got 80-inch diameter wheels,
80 inch, wow.
Which are quite incredible, and it's 13 foot high, which is, if you're standing down looking up at the engine, it's 13 feet high, which is quite incredible.
Oh,
hello.
Oh, I had a train coming up.
Passing Azuma.
There we go. I did wonder why I'd suddenly gained a fair bit of height there, but... Because it's been a couple of different colours this over the years as well, hasn't it?
Yes, so it was originally sort of in the Great Northern green, so when it was first built, with a different style tender, and then when the LNER sort of started out, and they wanted to make sure that they could do longer runs with different crews, they then changed the tender and it went into an LNER green. The Great Northern and LNER are basically very similar colours. And then during the war, she then ended up in wartime black. So she was totally painted in a black with NE on the side of the tender. And also she ended up in blue in 1952, BR Express Passenger Blue after the war. And then she went into this Brunswick green, which we see there today, in the BR Brunswick green there, and that's what she's currently running in today, although she has recently had a white roof painted. And you're probably wondering to yourself, well, why is the roof painted white? And the roof was painted white because Flying Scotsman recently transported the King to the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. So when steam locomotives always would transport royals, they always had their roofs painted white.
Right, let's have a look around the cab, shall we? Oh, I like the fact it actually says where it's got like the little painted by on it.
Yes, yeah, and that is actually in the cab. I've actually seen that. So yeah. And then if you look up on the left-hand side, you'll actually see that's her tops number, which is our mainline register number, the max speed, which you can run on the main line, which is 75 miles an hour. And then going tender first, so if we were running with the tender going the other way and we're running backwards, we've only had the top speed of 45 miles an hour.
As in if you're running like in reverse?
And so if you had, we're running what we call smoke box first. So the smoke box is the very front of the locomotive, or boiler first, you could probably call it. Tender first is where we keep our coal and water. If we were running tender first with the tender, in the travel, travelling with the tender going in the direction of travel, that's called tender first.
Right. I thought you actually meant you were going to put the train in reverse and go at 45 mile per hour. I'm not going to lie, I did get some palpitations there because that's just...
Yeah. Yeah, if you can actually walk down the corridor, so if you crouch down, go over to the left-hand side, keep going to the left, you walk over a little bit, you'll see there's a little doorway there, look at that. And that's how they transferred driver and fireman on long distance journeys. Look at this, look. So they would come through that door and come through the coaches.
Oh, I think I'm in a tunnel.
Yeah, you're in a tunnel there. So if you now turn round and walk back. Probably just see the glow of the fire there. Look at that.
Yeah.
There we are. Look at that.
Yeah, just coming through Stoke Tunnel, so that means I'm getting nice and close to Grantham.
Yep. Look at that, look.
Honestly, almost looks like a scene from a Christmas movie, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Yeah. I've even had a little thing that obviously sometimes the footplate crew wouldn't get a breakfast. So sometimes they bring their own. And what they would do is they would clean down the shovel and put their bacon and eggs or their sausage, crack it all on the shovel, and then leave it in the firebox, and then they cook it on there, and then that would be their breakfast or their lunch or dinner. I've actually known someone to actually cook, I think, a full steak or a piece of a large meat in the smoke box. So they've left it in the smoke box going along a heritage railway and done things like that. And baked potatoes, I've seen that one in traction engines. So yes, not only is it good for transporting people, but you can cook food on it as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I can guarantee that's something to say. I've had a full cooked breakfast just off the engine or off the coal pit.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I have done it before, and it's great fun. It's great fun.
Alright, so about apparently 2.4 mile out from Grantham. So I'll jump back in my seat.
And it's getting a bit interesting because it's gone a little bit foggy as well. Oh blimey, you're speeding, look at the speed.
Oh god, thank you too. I'm going for the record, what can I say? Right, let's just get that regulator. Let's just get you, I'll just close you. That'll be probably the better idea, especially since it looks like I'm literally coming around to Grantham now. Yeah, there's my banner up here. So, braking?
Yeah, so braking on the left-hand side, like as we did before, but you're going in the opposite direction. So, obviously they're air brakes, so don't put too much on all at once.
I believe I'm probably going to end up going past the car.
Coming down now.
Yeah, so if I just gradually increase that, because I know I am getting close. I'm probably about to drive straight past the platform here, I'm not going to lie.
Because the brakes will take a little time to come on. I think you're going to go screaming past.
Yeah, I'm just going to go full service, that's the point. Yeah, I have not got a chance. Do we have an emergency brake on this yet? That might help. Go on, get out. Oh, normally hit a platform at like 30 mile per hour. So this is
Oh, well, he's still got 400 yards.
Oh, I might, this is going to be tight. Go on, get out.
Oh, look at that. You're nearly at 30, look at that.
Look at that. Oh, shoot. I might have saved it here. I might have saved it. I'm good for the emergency brake. Oh, wait, that might be a bit too much now. Ooh, get off.
But you've actually stopped in the back. That's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Everybody might have spilled their teas and coffees and milks and beers and wine, and they might all have come into an absolute heap, but you have stopped in the platforms.
More importantly, how many people can say they've experienced the emergency stop on the Flying Scotsman?
Well, that is very true. That is very true.
Right, I'll reopen the regulator. Just slow ride up. Let's see, is it going to let us go? Yep, open it at about 10% originally in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, your brakes have just got to reset for a minute, so you'll see the brake pressures. They've just got to reset your brake pressures at the moment.
It's alright, after that stop I think I need my heart to reset as well, so I could just do it for a minute until it's ready to go as well.
Yeah, if you just do the brakes go into full overcharge release again.
Full overcharge.
Yeah. So the other way, that's emergency.
My bad. There we go, then.
Just give it a few minutes.
Yeah, everyone's stopped on the platform, like, you can't stop there, mate. A little bit further up.
They're all just looking at you going, you can't stop there.
Yeah.
Brakes should be nearly off now.
Oh, we've got movement.
There we are, we're off.
Just over a mile per hour, but I'm quite happy just to crawl up to the end of the platform here. That's it for, obviously we have our all boards that we need to stop at stations, so it's like for Grantham it's right at the end of the platform. Do you have a specific point that you also have to stop at? or it's just kind of use the platform?
So in the game we have a marker point, as you can see in there, but as we on the real locomotive, it's normally done by the coach lengths. So ideally, as you're driving a steam locomotive, you want to make sure that you get all the coaches on the platform. So we'll normally judge it by how far, you know, the driver will probably come in a little bit slower, gradually bring it to a stop, and then crawl sort of nearer to the end to make sure that all the coach doors all have access to the platform.
Oh, I can just go to Newark North Gate now. Did I not have to stop here?
No, I think you're non-stop, but you could stop.
Honestly, after all that, honestly, I just run flying. Never mind, right, let's open her back up.
Yeah.
Oh well, at least we've done a brake test, you know, we know the work, that's the important thing. Oh, got my head out of the roof. So I'm intrigued. What's the fastest you've got on a steam engine before?
Oh, I have been on the main line, so I've been on a mainline rail tour, which would have been like 60, 75 miles an hour. But on the footplate of an engine, so I think I've only done sort of about 20, 25 miles an hour. I've been a railway volunteer at Heritage Railways, my local Heritage Railway, and I've fired and worked on steam locomotives, and I've had the opportunity to actually fire Flying Scotsman in the past, which has been fantastic.
So have you got a particular favourite steam engine?
My favourite locomotive is a Black 5. My favourite one in particular is called George Stephenson, and it was quite unique because it had outsized Stephenson's link valve gear, which was very unique for the Black 5, as a lot of them, there was a huge amount of them built, but George Stephenson was one of the it was only one of that style, so it was very unique.
So you know what my next question is going to be now, don't you?
Why is it called a cat flap?
That, and what's the difference obviously between it being open and being closed? Is it just obviously the oxygen getting to it?
With a firebox you've got what you call primary and secondary air, and it's for the firemen to control the different types of airflow in the firebox. So you're like using the dampers, using the fire hole doors and things like that. And what that will do is you've got like bars underneath the firebox, which will bring the air up through the fire, and then the fire hole door is used mainly for stoking, but you can also use it for airflow and things like that. So a general rule, for example, is that when you've just fired, ideally you want to have the firebox open a little bit, because you don't want to cause black smoke. But at the same time you want to keep all the air in, we want to keep the fire actually burning. So sometimes what they'll do is they'll open and close the firebox door on each and every pole shovel. So there'll be like maybe a third person on the footplate. They'll open it and close it and open it and close it to make sure that the fireman is keeping the heat in the firebox.
I'm guessing these are just kind of like emergency stops and stuff like that up here, or?
So you've got the AWS bell on the left there.
This one there, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the different bells and bits and pieces. Also Scotsman has electronic lighting, because obviously for the main line. And then I think the button above there, I think, is the emergency stop button for main line, because she'll be mainline equipped. She has all the GSMR equipment, things like that you would need to run on the main line.
Oh, back in my seat. Oh, and I may also be speeding just slightly, just you know.
You're going for the speed record again.
Well, you know, it's a challenge. Alright, so I need to stop in 4 miles, so let's close that and then Brake needs to go the other way. So would say about 30% on the brake, or?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Alright, cool.
You can see all your different gauges will then change above your head there, and see, you know, see all the different brake pressures, and you can see the speed now coming down. We've got to make sure we've got enough space for an Azuma to pass.
So obviously when you're braking off for one of these, obviously I've got my kind of like guidelines that I stick to for like my braking points and like what my like normal go-to percentages are if I'm coming down to like a platform stop. Is it similar for you with the point of where you're like, right, I know obviously the capabilities of the train, I know obviously what it brakes like. Have you got those points where you're like, right, here I'm going to go to 30% brake and then obviously just watch it come down as it should?
I think it's so, with a steam locomotive, a lot of the time you have to look at sort of weather conditions, you know, your route knowledge, how your locomotive works, and obviously Scotsman's got air brakes. So if you were using vacuum brakes, which Scotsman also has, your vacuum brake might work slightly slower than your air brake, for example. So you've got to know what rolling stock you're on, how you're using the brakes, sort of things like that. You know, it's not, you know, trying to find the certain sort of stopping points. Let's put it this way. For example, I was on the footplate the other day, and we had to stop to pick up water, and so the first trip up, they couldn't quite judge where exactly it was. So what they did was, on the platform they got a piece of ballast, and they scraped the side of the platform to know exactly the stopping position to put where the water was. So when they got to the cab, they'd know exactly where they needed to stop in line with the cab to where they need to stop to put water in. So for example, with Flying Scotsman, you would have to, you know, I think you'd be more on your route knowledge, for example, than you would be, say, with knowing, you know, knowing how your locomotive works, than knowing that, say, 30% would work to make sure it stops. Whereas you might have to be like, okay, with the weather conditions, will I need to put more brake in, or will I need to stop earlier, you know?
I'm just trying to work out where I'm at here so I know what the point speed is. Pretty sure we're coming up to Carlton. But since I haven't been paying attention to this, if I've gone, well, where we are, it's just testing a little bit.
Yeah, if you shut the regulator, because you're getting quite close, as you can see, you're counting down on the top there.
Yeah.
800 yards, 700 yards.
And just keep the brake off for the minute, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm coming over now.
You'll see your stopping point there.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm getting quite good at braking with this train, but it seems to be more heavy braking than anything else that I'm doing.
You got 400 yards to keep going forward.
Regulator open, go on, keep moving, keep moving. Oh, for God's sake. Right, I think it's fair to say I can't stop there, man. The train will end up running into the back of us. Right, let's just... Right.
You should see the signal up above you there, where it says distance. Can you see on the right hand side there?
Oh yeah, where it's got like the little red.
Yeah, so that's your signal. So you need to stop before then.
Right. So don't spad it and don't stop right before, like way back from it.
Yeah.
Right. Honestly, the vision that like the drivers of these must get is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I would now shut the regulator now and come to a stop now. See where the signal is.
Still a bit further ahead. Right.
As long as you're back of your train, just have a look and see if your back of your train is in.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, yeah.
Well in. Yeah, that's fine.
So now we just got to wait for the Azuma. Here it comes by the look of it.
Yeah, I can imagine if it comes up close, you just get a little wave off a driver. Just, yeah, nah, straight past. Lovely.
Now we've got to wait for our signal before we can proceed then.
So I'm guessing on the little bar at the top right hand side, that'll change to a green in it when the...
It will.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those cars will be waiting for ages, poor things.
yeah, they're just looking at it as like, yeah, it's a great train, but I'd like to get across the road.
I'd like to get to work, please.
Yeah, turn up. What's your excuse for being late? Flying Scotsman was blocking the level crossing. Sounds it's up there with the dog ate my homework, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It is indeed, yeah.
Right, does that... Yep, I've got my signal. Right, so... Brake
Brakes
to...
off.
Oh, brakes off. There we go. And then open up to 10%, get it moving, no wheel slip. Oh, right, we've got movement, we're looking good. What can I say, I'm professional driving these now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've learnt the ways of Scotsman now, you've learnt the ways.
Tie me up for the rail to us.
Yep.
Reduce that down just to touch I don't go over. So obviously looking on the like gauge where we've got like the speedo, where it's got like the little box with the 5 in it, what's that for?
So the box, if you open your regulator, that's your regulator position.
Ah, right, okay. What about the box with the 44 in it?
That's your reverser position.
Right, okay.
So obviously in the Azuma that would be F,
Yeah, the forward.
And W.
or however it would work, for forward and backwards.
Forward, neutral and reverse for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the gauge is on the other side. So you can you see the one that's doing like this all the time? Going like that.
Yes, the one on the left hand side over here, yeah.
So that's how much pressure you're putting into the cylinders. And then the top one, or how much pressure I say, how much steam you're putting into the cylinders. And then the top one is the actual pressure in the locomotive. So the red mark is like top pressure, and then anything under that is, you know, and the V, you'll see V, that means the pressure is decreasing. And when it goes up, that means pressure is increasing. So that's your steam pressure. So how much steam the locomotive is making.
I had a feeling with the V kind of going up and down constantly, that might be the case, with it being like obviously indicating if it's up increasing or decreasing. So obviously there's a few more like isolation cocks and that down here. So we've got what, emergency brake valve. So is that literally just open it up and it'll put the emergency brakes on, or?
Exactly that. Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah.
I'm guessing for that, just turn it on, sand will be released, turn it back off, stops, yeah.
Yeah, so you got front and back. So you'll see there'll be the front driving wheels and the back driving wheels. So it does front and back.
That's the. Do you know what? I've been looking at that, trying to work out what it is, and I didn't realise it's actually like obviously for the whistle.
There we go. Look at that.
I tell you what, our whistles definitely don't look like that. We've got like this like little knob that goes like up for high, down for low, but that's just like, oh, that must be unbelievable to actually pull them on the move.
I've pulled it stationary, so I've sat in King's Cross and pulled it stationary, and that was just a memory and a half. So
I can imagine.
Just hearing the echo of it bouncing off the walls and things like that, you know, just amazing.
So obviously in the Azumas we've got our GSMR kit like it's literally on our right hand side, and it's all plumbed into the console and whatnot. Obviously really handy. If you were going to use it, do you have to go all the way to the back over here?
You do indeed, yeah.
Wow, so you'd actually have to take your eyes off what's going on, like, in front of you and walk all the way over here. That is crazy.
Yeah. So that's your GSMR kit over there you go. And most locomotives all have their GSMRs at the back like that, or most locomotives have that. But as you can see the little preview window, so if you needed to do anything you'd open it up, but you can see on the GSMR what it's actually doing through the window anyway. So
obviously on the steam trains it's very open. Would you actually be able to hear very well if you're actually talking over the GSMR?
Probably not if you're driving, no. They are very loud on the engine, depending on what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
Some mainline tours, you know, you'll have like 4 people on there. So it can be, on some engines, can be quite cramped, but Scotsman's cab is quite big, you know.
So that's handy. So I'd imagine you just shovel it from there and obviously pop it in there, right? I was going to say that looks a lot easier than actually doing it from there, because that looks like it might be a bit of a pain, especially if you knock it.
Yeah, so what you would do is you pull the coal down. So you'd you know, when you're stationary, you pull all the coal down to bring it further forward, so it all piles at the back, so then it'll just fall in, and then you shovel. So normally the way is it depends on which you're left-handed or right-handed. So if you're, I'm trying to remember this now, if you're left-handed, I think you use your left hand closest to the shovel, your right hand to the back, and then you shovel in and you twist on your foot. Right. So you twist back, so you put your front foot forward and you twist, and then turn round and put it straight in, and then you'll have to angle it. So sometimes you'll have to like take a big swing, because if you're going right to the front of the firebox, some engines have got really long fireboxes. The way they overcame that in America, because the locomotives are so large in America, they actually had self-coalers. So they had little dials and bits and pieces, and there'd be a conveyor belt, and the coal would go directly in, and it'd sprinkle the coal in the firebox.
So obviously when they used to go through the staff changeover, they'd come through this corridor, but they literally just at a designated point just walk through there and be like, right, you know, hand over any issues, this, that and the other, and then from there just take over.
Exactly that, yep. So what they would normally be behind the locomotive is they'd have a coach with compartments in it, and the driver and fireman or the next crew would be in there waiting for their turn, and then at a certain time or a certain station or a certain part of the timetable, they would then walk through the corridor, probably tap the driver on the back. There's actually, I think there's video footage of it, old time footage back from the day. Tap them on the shoulder and say, yep, right, time to transfer, any issues? No, okay, you know, and then take over and drive the locomotive as far as they needed to. You know, quite a fantastic invention. It was not many locomotives that had it fitted. It was mainly sort of the A-class locomotives from Gresley. So you had the A1s, A2s, I think had some fitted, A3s, and definitely the A4s like Mallard and Bitton and Sir Nigel Gresley.
Just going to reduce the speed there, just going slightly over the speed limit again.
Yeah, like speeding there.
Needs a little speed limiter putting on it, you know, if it goes past this a big bell rings off or something.
Yeah.
There we go, just close that off. Should run down. Oh yeah, we're coming around towards Tuxford here, by the looks of it. There we go, back at the speed limit.
There we are.
There we go, right, open you back up.
Also, Flying Scotsman has had quite a few numbers in its lifetime. So in the early days it was 1472, and then probably the most memorable one is 4472. And then just before British Rail took over the LNER, it was 103, and then became 60103, which is the livery it's in now, in December 1948. And actually was withdrawn from service on the 15th of January 1963. And interestingly, on that day it was withdrawn, it was basically went straight into preservation. It was, basically I think it did a few rail tours after it had just been bought by Alan Pegler.
Trains like this, they should just constantly be looked after, preserved, made sure they can just be seen by future generations, you know what I mean? Like, when you're a kid, these are the types of trains that you look at a lot of the time, like...
Exactly, and Flying Scotsman is the sole survivor. She is the sole survivor of her class, which is, again, quite an amazing, feat. And I think had Alan Pegler and the preservationists of her time, had they not saved her, she would have there would no longer be any LNER Gresley A3s left in preservation, which would have been a very much a shame. So we're very lucky to have Flying Scotsman with us today.
Those are your teacocks on the side there. That is actually a question. Obviously, on board we always have our emergency kit, for if anything goes wrong, being able to lay protection and whatnot. Where does it actually start? Do you have it on board? And if so, whereabouts?
Flying Scotsman, when running on the main line, would have what we call a support coach. And in the support coach you'd have sort of like bits of equipment that you'd need to go along there, so probably like first aid kits, if the locomotive broke down and things like that, emergency situations, and they would all be stored in that coach. And also other like footplate crews that would be on there as well, so that as we said with the corridor, they could swap over or have access.
So I've just seen these markings on the side as well, where it says like full, and then obviously it goes down from there. What's it for?
That's the water level. On the main line back in the steam days, they used to have things called a trough, and the troughs would sit full of water all along in the track. And there'd be a little sign that would suddenly come up, and as the sign came up, you'd have to make sure that you timed it right. You'd bring down a little scoop, and the scoop would go down and lift the water out of the trough and into so they didn't have to stop to re-water the loco. But that would be your water level gauge in the back of the tender, so you know how much water was left in the tender.
So do you have kind of like a minimum amount?
You would never let it hit zero, because the boiler might explode, which we don't really want. Really, you need to know how much water you've got in the tender and how much water you've got in the boiler, which if you turn round, you'll see what we call the gauge glasses, and you look up a little bit, you'll see them there. These are the gauge glasses, and the crossing on the edge of the gauge glass shows you a pattern, so you can see the edge of the water level. And also, interestingly, the gauge glasses, obviously if the locomotive goes up and down gradients, the water in the gauge glass will fluctuate, so you've always got to be careful of knowing where your gradients are, because if you have too much little water, it could damage the boiler. And how the water gets in the boiler is called injectors. And the injectors use steam and water to push water into the boiler.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I might be speeding again, so I'm just going to go and have a quick look. 96, I'm going for that record again.
So if you keep going, you might as well hit 100. You're nearly there.
Sorry, we'll pretend it's an Azuma for the minute. Oh no, I'm going up a gradient now, that's why I'm coming up near Botany Bay.
Yeah, you'll lose a bit of speed now.
Yeah, it's alright, it's a little bit downhill after that.
Oh, here goes the downhill bit. That'll do.
Go on.
Come on. There he goes, 96.
I was gonna say, should we get out and push it? But I think I might fly away from us just a touch. 97, 3 miles per hour to go. We've got this.
98.
Oh, it's crunch time.
There we go.
I was going to say, do I need to get some more coal out? 99. There we go, across Botany Bay. Oh, come on, one more.
Go on, one more. You're still going downhill, so you'll help.
Oh, tiny falling gradient. Come on, you can do it. Oh, it's not gonna have it, is it? It's not gonna do it for us.
Yeah, it will.
Come on. Ah, there we go. Get it, 100.
There you are, look at that.
Driving significantly over the speed limit. There we go. Now I'll bring it back down to where we should be.
Bring it back down to normal speed. There you go.
You know, match the record-breaking speed.
There we go. The 1934, 2024. It's done it. It's done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, November the 30th, 1934.
Yeah, because when it did it, it was the first ever steam train to actually reach 100, wasn't it?
Yes, it's the first official recorded one, and it was between Leeds and London. Quite an amazing achievement, you know. And do you think that was in 1934? And you think the cars hadn't really taken off at that point? You know, it was only a few years later they reached 126 with Mallard.
That was crazy to believe. But it's mad to then compare then to the modern day, the amount of advancements that have actually happened to where just the advancements that have now got to the point where it's a lot easier to reach those speeds.
Yes, it is, exactly, yeah.
Right, 11 miles to Doncaster.
Yeah.
And I'm actually at the right speed, so you know, I'm abiding by the laws now.
Yeah.
We're good.
Enjoying driving it so far?
Yeah, it's actually, when you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty straightforward, you know, other than, you know, speeding constantly. It is it's quite cool. Definitely different to an Azuma, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
You'll have to have a go at driving a real steam loco now.
Tell you what, if I ever got the chance, I definitely wouldn't be saying no to it. I'd probably be like, don't leave me unsupervised for, you know, the love of God, but next video, Azuma driver tries steam train. Oh.
You're doing very well at driving Scotsman now, you're doing very well.
Yeah, I must admit, it's definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
So when you're actually driving down Donny for this area here, if you actually look over the side before you get to the Red Bridge, there's a big helicopter and a paintballing field. And I mean, it's full size, and at Christmas they have a Santa Claus in it.
Oh wow. What's the strangest thing that you've seen when you've been driving?
Right, in what way are we describing strange?
In a good way?
I remember this one day, it was when I was going through my training with my mentor, and we were on the early morning Berwick job. So basically you take an empty off of heating, then you go up to Berwick empty, and then you bring the service back. And that obviously then you switch over in Newcastle, and we were coming up past Almouth, and you had the sunrise and everything looked absolutely picturesque, beautiful. And all you saw was this fox just running across the fields, and honestly it was like something out of a movie. It was unbelievable.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I've seen people make homemade whistle boards, so on the edge of platform, so you'll give them a little toot.
Really?
Yeah, there was someone, it was at Peterborough, and I was coming through, and I'd seen it, and I was like, that is effort, big massive cardboard print with big W on it. I was like, that is just absolutely fantastic.
Oh, you're 1.3 miles now, you're nearly there.
It's just been my signal yellow, so I can pull that brake off for now. Coming in extremely slow, but it's better than going straight past it. Yeah, platform 4, so I'm going over the points. Just give it a little bit of a boost.
See if we can get a perfect stop.
That's a red there, isn't it? Oh, right.
Oh yeah, there is a red there.
I think it might be approach control, I think.
Yeah, there we go, it's gone off there. So, we can keep running. Come on, keep going. No, keep moving. Oh, for God's sake.
Ah, nearly there. Just wait for the brakes to come back on. Oh, you got another spin, and just turn it down. Bring it up gradually.
There we go. I was going to say I stopped a bit short there as well.
You're fine. Yeah, Flying Scotsman's a bit of a racehorse. It's amazing how much speed it will gain all of a sudden.
Right, so... There we go, initial application. Coming in a lot slower than what I normally would do here, but I'm trying to gauge its capabilities a little bit.
Give it a little bit more regulator.
Yeah, I just seen the how much the brake had gone up. I was like, oh, not too much, too much.
You're doing fine, you're doing fine. You're nearly there. Probably shut the regulator now, let it roll.
I suppose the good thing of this is when the brake kicks in, it really kicks in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Well, they're air brakes, quite responsive.
Too short. Oh, could I roll it? It's going.
Keep rolling, keep rolling.
I'm rolling. I'll just keep rolling, it's fine. Go on, a bit further. Just giving the scenic approach in.
I think anywhere there.
I've got 7 yards to go. I'm going right to the tooth and nail for this. Ooh, I don't want to mention you. Signal passed it in. What?
Oh, no!
After all of that, really? I did not. That was no. I'm not accepting that. Nah. I can't believe that. That must be from the earlier spad. I didn't spad there, surely. Honestly.
I think because what happened was, because the marker's quite far up, the loco sort of overhangs from the marker, so it would have just gone past the signal. But you did well. That's fine. You did very, very well.
Honestly, I feel like that's terrible. Terrible behaviour. Cannot believe that after all of that.
After all that, yeah.
Never mind. At least I now actually understand, kind of, in a way, how to drive the Flying Scotsman.
You do indeed, yeah. Yeah, you've done very well, and I hope you enjoyed driving it. It's certainly an amazing locomotive.
Oh, 100%, definitely, yeah. So, definitely has you thinking about, you know, your brake pressures, your timings for your brake, and just because of how responsive it is. Obviously for us, on ours we have 2 brakes, where we've got like the normal, like the regen brake, and then we have our friction brake, which friction brake, especially on some of the trains I've been driving recently, are very much a hit. They're very strong. So that's obviously a lot more like the air pressure brakes on these.
I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway, so it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Oh god, I like the fact I've gone up to level 4 now. I started the day on level 1. I'm just saying.
Well, you're doing well.
I'm getting there. If you just miss out the spads and going through everything, speed and
Can't believe that.
it's when I get called into my DTM's office and they're like, so, you like spudding and speeding, do you? No, don't take my job away from me. Yeah, we'll just save that one for the bloopers, don't worry about it. Climb up. Oh, okay, I'm on top of the train. Right, let's have a look, right. And the door's still locked, right. Oh, I've now left the train.
You ain't gonna get that back now. Whoops.
Never mind.
Never mind, that's gone.
Yeah. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did recording it. If you, what was it like? Comments like, why is this so difficult? Thank you for watching today. If you liked the video, drop it a like. You can leave us a comment or you can subscribe. For God's sake. Or subscribe to the page. Dan, subscribe to the page.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Drop us a like, subscribe, bugger. Thank you for watching today. Subscribe. Oh, fine's not good. Fine is not good. I'm feeling good about this go, okay? Thank you for watching today. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. If you did, give us a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Yes! God! Low 5, LNER. Thank you. You know, you wouldn't think this would be so difficult.